This is a review of the Apple iPad Air 2. I'm going to do a brief comparison to the Apple iPad Air and also to some older generations. When you open the box, you'll find a set of Apple decals, a very brief instruction sheet, a AC wall adapter that's rated at 100 to 240 volts AC and 50 to 60 hertz. It has an output of 5.1 volts and 2.1 amps. You'll also find a lightning connector that's 1 meter long, which is basically 39.37 inches. When you first see this, you're going to wonder what's different between it and the iPad Air. Well, physically, looking at the outside, you don't see a lot of differences. It is 18% thinner, and it weighs in at 0.96 pounds, so it's a little bit lighter. It does have a better display. It uses a new technology that the display is thinner, and the biggest thing that I've noticed is the clarity of the photographs is just spectacular. Especially when you look at them from the side, what's called parallax. You don't get the defocusing of the picture or the blurring. It's extremely crystal clear. What I noticed is the colors are richer, clearer, and crisper, and if you tilt the display, it stays the same type of focus. On even any iPad I've had before, from a slight angle you can see a difference. This one here has an excellent display. It's 9.7 inches in diagonal, and it has a resolution of 2048 by 1536. That equals 264 pixels per inch, or 3.1 million pixels on the entire screen. Perhaps the biggest difference is the power of the CPU and the GPU. Here's the iPad Air 2. Here's the iPad Air. I've run a benchmarking software on these to basically see how powerful they are. The iPad Air, which is my tablet, ranked out at 40,129, and the iPad Air 2 ranked out at 62,482. That's a 56% increase in capacity and power of the tablet. That's not guessing. That's actual test data. So it's really a superior device. It has the power and speed of most computers. It's 64-bit architecture. It's 2.5 times faster graphics than this unit. And it claims a 40% faster CPU, but from what I've seen, the responsiveness is much better. In addition, having all that additional power, it still has up to 10 hours of battery life. One of the physical differences you can see is the home button. Here's the iPad Air 2. You can see it has the fingerprint sensor. It works flawlessly. When we first got fingerprint sensors on our iPhone 5S's, we weren't so happy with them. But every time they released a new version of the software, the ability to use it got better and better. I think they finally have solved the problem. Let me show you how the new touch sensor works. It's just that easy. My wife loves it. She's so used to typing in her password that now she doesn't know what to do with all the extra time she has. Here you can see the comparison between the iPad Air 2 and all the other iPad products, and you can see the tremendous jump in power that's been gotten by improving the CPU to the A8 CPU. Here in the benchmarking software, you can also see that the iPad Air 2 has 2 gigabytes of internal RAM memory, and you can see the comparison of the different aspects of it. I can tell you, because of the difference of the CPU and the GPU, the responsiveness with the Wi-Fi is much better. The antenna is better, I get stronger signals, and the speed of response for browsing is spectacular. I do want to point out they've also changed the cameras. This new camera here is an 8 megapixel camera, and the photography that you get with it is spectacular. The rear-facing camera here, as I mentioned, is 8 megapixels. It captures images at 3,264 by 2448 resolution, and it's basically a very good quality 1080p HD video and photography. Added features in here also give you time-lapse video, exposure control, slow motion video with 120 frames per second, burst mode photography, timer mode, and high resolution panorama. As you can see here, my iPad Air 2, or my wife's to be specific, was purchased from Apple, and I had it engraved as a gift to her as a surprise to replace her original iPad 2, so it's many generations newer. My wife is extremely happy with the upgrade. It's a difference of night and day. Just to show you the amazing result, this is my wife's iPad 2. It had a benchmark of 15,010 versus 62,482. So this tablet here is 4.16 times faster than this one. That's an amazing result, especially when you think it's only been a few years of evolution in technology. In addition, just look at the difference in thickness between the two tablets. It's amazing. The iPad Air 2 is about half as thick, smaller in size, and about 35% lighter in weight, with 4.16 times the power. Here you can see the iPad Air 2 and the iPad Air, and you can see a couple things that's different. First of all, you have a microphone port at the edge here. Also, you have this switch on the original iPad Air. This is the switch that mutes the device, or it also can lock the rotation of the screen. That switch is not on the iPad Air 2. You now have to go into the software and do the adjustments to turn the lock rotation on and off inside the software. Here you can see the earphone jacks in the same place. The iPad Air 2 doesn't have a microphone port on the top because, as I showed you, it's on the side, and the power controls in about the same place. Here you can see the speaker portholes on the iPad Air 2, which is the gold one, are much larger than they were on the iPad Air. The speakers on the iPad Air 2 are much louder than the iPad Air. I say much, I mean it's not booming, but it's certainly better. One of the weakest spots for me for the iPads is the sound output, and this is definitely an improvement. I think it's because of the larger size of the ports there to get the sound out. See here in the middle, the lightning port to do your interface and charging with. You can see on the back the cameras. The iPad Air here is the gold one on the top, and you can see the camera's been moved. Because of that, the cases that you have for your iPad Air don't really fit on the iPad Air 2 because they interfere with the camera. You can also see a small pinhole here. From what I've been able to determine, that's a microphone input, and here you see on the original iPad Air, it's over here. One of the main things about this new tablet, its absolute speed is astonishing. If I touch the internet, Safari, I can go to CNN, I can go to an article, and it will load very quickly as soon as I touch the right spot. And you can just see how fast this is. This is the USA Today, and then here is Amazon, and you can see the different departments. Like this is the Fire tablets, Kindle Fire HD, and you can see how quickly it loads. I mean, it's just spectacular. The color, the graphics, everything's very fast. It's a combination of the CPU and GPU working together with a better Wi-Fi antenna design. As I've shown, this is an excellent product, extremely fast. My wife couldn't be happier. Even compared to my iPad Air, it's a superior product. Aesthetically, outside, physically, it looks the same. But the touch sensor and the internal CPU and GPU power is just amazing. I have to rate this as a 5-star product. Every generation of Apple iPads gets better. I own about 16 different tablets, and when it comes to the larger size tablets with the big screen, I've found nothing that compares to the iPad Air or the iPad Air 2 because of the quality, the construction, and the technology. This review is done by JJ CEO.